my crafty friends, it's me, Lisa, the DIY Diva, and I cannot believe it. It is almost Christmas. But before Christmas gets here, I did want to share a few more really fun and easy DIY decor pieces just in time for Christmas.
It all just goes away. Things I plan to say. Oh, baby.
I found these at Dollar Tree and they are so cool. They're like cutout wood pieces. And I found 2 different packages and they had these really pretty pine trees. And I was trying to figure out something that I could make using just the pine trees. And I really like this wooden ring. I thought it would be really fun to do like a 3D thing with these wooden pine trees. So first I removed that bottom edge. Now that edge that's on the bottom, that is supposed to be used for the original craft. But since I'm not using the trees as they are intended, I wanted to remove those little extra wooden pieces because I don't want them to be on my finished project. And once I had that wood removed, then I just took sage green acrylic paint and I painted the pine trees with the sage green paint. Now you could do any color you wanted to, but I really like this color green. It's kind of a softer green and it may not be traditional, but I really like the look that this gives. So each of the wooden pine tree sections got a coat of the sage green acrylic paint. Next, I came in with a brown acrylic paint because I just want to paint the trunks of the trees. It doesn't matter if it's perfect, just having this color, and I believe this is burnt sienna, on each of the trunks of the trees definitely gives a little bit of a pop of color to the piece. I love finding these wood kits at Dollar Tree. If you're lucky enough to have a laser cutter, you can probably make these really easily, but I'm not too good with my laser cutter yet. I'm going to be sharing that with you in 2025. But for now, finding pieces like this at the Dollar Tree is really fun to make some original decor and craft pieces for your home, especially at this time of the year. Then I came back with a little bit of a tan paint, and then I just brushed it a little bit with a fan brush. Then I used some Dollar Tree puffy paint to make the bottom of these trees have snow. It looks like big piles of snow at the base of the pine trees. Then I wanted to add a little bit of something extra like I do. So I used a little bit of burnt umber paint and some water, and using a couple of fan brushes, I just kind of splattered the paint onto the trees. I also came back with a little bit of a cream colored acrylic paint and did the same thing. Now, Dollar Tree is wonderful for finding signs like these, and these were from the fall season, but what I did was remove the hangers on the back, and then using a little sander, I removed all of the glitter that was on the front. So where it said blessed, I removed all of that glitter because I don't want that to show up in my project. These little sanders are so helpful for when you're doing a project like this, and you can find them on Amazon. They're very affordable. And once I had the paint and the glitter removed from the front of my signs, then I came back with some tan acrylic paint. This is a folk art matte finish, and I painted both of the signs. I wanted to add a little more texture to the sign, so I came back with different shades of brown. This is kind of a golden brown. I just lightly brushed that across the signs. So I started with one shade of the golden brown, then I came back with some burnt umber, and I was trying to make a plaid pattern on the sign, and the 1.5 inch chip brush worked really well for this. And once my pine trees were dry, then I came back with some tumbling tower blocks, and I secured 2 blocks to each of the backs of the pine trees. Then I used a little bit more of the Dollar Tree wood glue, and I placed the trees onto my sign. And I just repeated the process with the other set of pine trees. Talk about instant decor. This was so easy to do, and I really don't think there is a lot of skill required to make something like this. There's so many different things that you could do, but for this time of the year, I really like the pine trees, and I think this is something that I can keep in my decorating well past Christmas and into the new year. Now for this project, I'm going to be using a Dollar Tree wreath form, along with some plaid ribbon that I found at Hobby Lobby. So I just wrapped the plaid ribbon all the way around the wreath form. And I did use a little bit of hot glue throughout the process of while I was wrapping it around because I really want to make sure the ribbon is going to stay in place. And when I was finished covering the wreath form, then I used a little bit more hot glue to secure the ribbon to the back of the wreath. Now I found this wooden ring at the Dollar Tree, and I had a lot of these gingerbread shapes left over from an earlier project, so I wanted to see if I could make a gingerbread wreath. And the gingerbread that I made, I used air dry clay to make them, so they are pretty fragile. The painted surface does help give a little bit of strength to the gingerbread people, gingerbread men, women, children, but they are still pretty fragile. And I have a lot of gingerbread cutouts that will make a really pretty wreath. So once I had all of the gingerbread cutouts onto the wooden wreath form, I flipped it over and used my glue gun to fill in the backs of the gingerbread cutouts. This gives a lot more strength, and hopefully it will help my gingerbread wreath last longer. And I wanted to see what it would look like on top of the wreath form, and I really like that. I took some hot glue and I put it on the back of the wooden wreath form, and then I secured it on top of the plaid ribbon that was covering the Dollar Tree wreath form. And even though I could have added a little bit of the white puffy paint to each of my gingerbread cutouts, I really like the simplicity of this, and I think it looks really nice in my kitchen. Next, I have this Dollar Tree glass vase. I love these vases. There's so many things that you can do with them. The hardest thing of using these glasses is getting that tag off of the bottom. But once you get the tag off of the bottom, you can do a lot. And I have this folk art gold paint. This is such a pretty color. It's called Mayan Gold, and I used that on the inside of the vase. So the reason I did it on the inside and not the outside of the vase is because that glass is going to give it a really glossy finish, and I don't have to add a coat of spray paint or anything to the outside of the vase. Isn't that pretty? Look at how shiny that is. I think that is so pretty. So I want to make a little Christmas vase. I took a small piece of floral foam and secured it into the bottom of my vase. Next, I had a bunch of plastic ornaments, and I took the hangers off, and then using some bamboo skewers from the Dollar Tree, I secured the skewer to each of the ornaments. And then I just stuck the skewers down into the floral foam. Now, I think you can see all of the little holes that have been poked into the foam already. That's because it didn't seem to work out really well the first time with this project, but that's what's nice about things like this is you can do it over and over again until you get the look that you're going for. And this is a really good way to use the leftover Christmas decorations that you have to make some extra decorations for your decorating. That's what I did with this project, and it turned out so well. That was why I wanted to share it with you. This is a really fast and easy project that you can make in just a few hours, and I think it is so pretty, and I'm so glad I took the time to make it. Now, have you seen these wooden rounds at Dollar Tree? Well, I bought a couple of them. They're very thin. So I glued 2 of them together with the Dollar Tree wood glue, and then I secured them together with the clamps that I got from the Dollar Tree. I took some Dixie Belle chalk paint and I painted that onto the top of this wooden round. Now, it was a little bit dark. I wanted it to be a little bit lighter, not quite bright white. So I came back with a little bit of white and added that into the chalk paint that I already had on the wood round. And while that was drying, I used my Cricut machine to cut out a Christmas saying. I really wanted something that said North Pole, but I really wanted something for my hot cocoa bars. And I found this design on Etsy. That was before I learned about Creative Fabrica. And when you're doing signs like this, if you fold the sign in half, not really fold it, but just kind of bend it, that helps to place it a little bit easier onto a larger surface. And even though I didn't get this exactly perfect, I still really like the way that this sign looks. So first I put on the background. So the green is the larger piece. After I got that in place, then I came back with the North Pole, which was in red. And I placed that right into the center. So this sign is using 2 different colors of vinyl, and I really do like the green and the red with that cream colored background. But I did want the background to look a little bit more aged, so I came back with some distressing ink and just put that all the way around the edges of my sign. And I thought, why not? I'm going to go ahead and put some of that distressing ink all over my sign. And even though I'm not sure if I really like that distressing ink all over, I really do like the sign. What do you think? Is that a little too much distressing ink? I'm not really sure, but I do like this for my hot cocoa bar, and I will be using this for Christmas Eve this year. Again, there wasn't a lot of skill involved in this. I just used my Cricut machine with some red and green vinyl and some wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. Now, this is a very easy project. I wanted to make some Christmas trees, but I didn't have any wood cutouts or wood that I could cut out to make Christmas trees. So I used the next best thing, which I'm sure everyone has a lot of right now, and that's cardboard. Yes, cardboard makes really good patterns for projects like this, and I like cardboard because it's very easy to obtain and it's actually really fun to work with. And there really is not a lot of skill involved in cutting out a triangle. So after I had the first triangle cut out, then I just used a pen and cut out some more triangles. Then I came back the opposite direction and I had some smaller triangles. And using some of the yarn from my craft room, I covered all of the cardboard triangles with the yarn. I want this to be more of a rustic type of decor piece because I have a lot of this rustic colored yarn. So lots of tans and lots of whites, and some of them did come from the Dollar Tree. And once I had all of the Christmas trees covered in yarn, then for a couple of the smaller white ones, I did come back with some jute twine and wrap that around the smaller trees just to give it a little bit of decoration. And all I had to do was secure the yarn down with some hot glue. Now I have this sign that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to paint this white, but I only want to have to do one coat of paint. So I added in a little bit of plaster of Paris because that's going to give some texture to the paint and it will make it thicker. So I will only have to do one coat of paint on this sign, which is pretty impressive because it's white paint and I'm painting over some darker lettering that's on the sign. This is definitely one way that you can make the painting go faster. And while the paint was still wet, I came back with some iridescent glitter and I just poured that over top of the sign. Now I had this Dollar Tree, I guess it's a charger that I had painted some time ago because I want to make my Christmas trees have like a base. So I put the white sign on top of the charger and then I started securing my Christmas trees to the white part. I started with 2 of the larger triangles or Christmas trees that were covered in white yarn. And I did use a little bit of hot glue on both sides to really make sure that it's going to be sturdy and these trees are going to stay in place. Next, I came back with another of the larger trees and I secured that to the front of the sign. Then I came back with my 2 smaller white Christmas trees that I put the jute twine on. And using the hot glue, I secured those to either side of the brown Christmas tree. I wanted to add a little bit of lights for the holidays. So I had this LED light strand, like fairy lights from the Dollar Tree. It only took 2 AA batteries, and then I just strung the lights around my Christmas trees. And I was careful to make it so that the battery pack will be in the back of the display. Isn't that cute? I did go ahead and add another strand of the fairy lights to my Christmas tree display, and I really like how this turned out. I wasn't too sure about using the cardboard as the base, but cardboard is wonderful for crafts, and I can't wait to show you what else I've come up with using cardboard as the base for a craft. But for now, I am so happy with my Christmas tree display, and I really like how it looks in my decor. Now you can sometimes find painter sticks at Dollar Tree, but I was able to find these at Home Depot and they were really affordable, cheaper than Dollar Tree at 96 cents for 12 of them. So I took 3 of the larger painter sticks and then using some smaller craft sticks from the Dollar Tree, I used wood glue to secure the 3 painter's sticks together with the craft sticks. And next I came back with some velvet yarn, and believe it or not, this did come from the Dollar Tree. And I wrapped the yarn all the way around the painter sticks. So the yarn is going to give a red velvet base, which is exactly what I wanted. I just covered the entire piece of wood with the velvet yarn. And Dollar Tree has these really nice metal signs just in time for Christmas. They have Christmas words like peace, joy, and believe. And the believe is what I want to use. So I took some more white acrylic paint that had a little bit of plaster of Paris still, and I just mixed it together. And then I painted the Believe with my paint mixture. The plaster of Paris really gives a nice texture to the sign and it sticks well to the metal. Then I came back with some Dollar Tree wood glue and I secured the Believe to the front of my sign. And I did want to add a bow, but I didn't have a small red bow, so I made one out of some velvet ribbon that I already had. I added dovetails to the bottom. And I secured my bow to the lower corner of my sign and added in a Dollar Tree jingle bell. And this is such a fun project. This was so easy. I cannot believe how easy all of these projects were, but I really like this Believe sign. I think it looks great. My Santa in my living room. And hopefully I've inspired you to do something like this because I'm telling you, it is so easy, but so pretty. Now, every once in a while, you can find larger signs like this at the Dollar Tree. And when I find them, I snatch them up. And usually they have a sawtooth hanger on the back, which I'm not going to be using for this project. So I did go ahead and remove the hanger. Now, the one thing that this sign had was these raised flowers. So I went ahead and removed the raised flowers. Thankfully, they were very easy to remove. Then I used some Dixie Belle chalk paint and I painted the entire piece with the white chalk paint. It's not quite white. I believe this is in the color of Fluff, so it does have a tiny bit of cream color to it. And I used a chip brush because that helps to give this a look that I'm going for, which is number one, some texture. And I'm going to try and see if I can make this look like birch wood. So I did a pretty heavy coat of the Dixie Belle paint. Then I came back with some black acrylic paint and a very small 1-inch chip brush. And I'm trying to remember what a birch tree looks like. I know it has some black lines, like longer lines to it. And I find that by doing this while the paint is wet, it's easier to blend the two different colors together. I did come back with a little bit more of the Dixie Belle paint because I want this to, like I said, blend together. And that is, to me, really starting to look like a birch tree pattern. But then I came back again with a little bit more of that black acrylic paint to put some more texture and different designs onto the sign. And like with any project that you're doing, if you're going to try to do something like this, don't be too hard on yourself. Sometimes it's fun just to play around and see what you come up with. No two designs are going to be identical, and getting a little bit creative and stepping out of your comfort zone can be really fun. That's how I come up with some of the best projects that I've made. Now, once my paint was dry, I did come back with some of the Tim Holtz Distressing ink to darken things up just a little bit on the sign. And not only did I do the top, but I did continue that all the way around all four sides. Next, I had some of this fabric. What is this? Homespun fabric. And I'm going to turn this sign into a Christmas present. So I want this to have more of a rustic or primitive appearance. So using the homespun fabric, I'm going to make a ribbon for my present that's going to hang on the wall. And instead of cutting the strips of material, I just ripped them. That gives a really nice rustic edge to the fabric. And then I just secured one strip of the fabric right down the center. And then I flipped over the sign and secured the ribbon to the interior portion on the back of the sign. And then I added another piece of that fabric so that it looks like it's a ribbon going around a package. And I just repeated the process of where I secured the ribbon. Next, I came back with a thicker jute twine, and I basically repeated the process of making it look like a ribbon on top of a ribbon. And then I repeated the same process again with a smaller jute twine right next to the larger twine. And here's where it gets really fun. So I had some of the faux evergreen or pine pieces and I hot glued those to the ribbon. And then I wanted to have a homespun or more of a primitive or country bow. So I just made loops with the fabric and then I secured those loops to the center of the ribbon to make it look like a bow. And to give it a little extra dimension, I had some cream colored burlap fabric that, believe it or not, I got at the Dollar Tree, and I just cut pieces of that off and hot glued those pieces in between the loops of my bow. And then I had some little paper doilies. I believe I got those at Temu, and I just kept adding extra embellishments to really make this look like a very fluffy bow. And I even came back and added a few more of the homespun fabric loops in to make it even fuller. And then I used a very rustic looking jingle bell. And then I tore a piece of paper and crinkled it up a bit. And I had this Merry Christmas tag. So I did a little bit of distressing of it around the edges. And then I secured that to the torn, tattered paper that I put underneath the jingle bell. I used a few buttons to make it look like it's holding the Merry Christmas sign in place, and then I used a little heart right down in the corner of my package. I wanted it to have a little bit more greenery, so I came back with a few more faux pine pieces and added those in along with some other greenery stems. And that is pretty much it. I think this turned out so cute. And like every other project that I've shared with you in this video, this was very easy. No skill really was needed. Even the painting, it wasn't that difficult to do. You just have to have a little faith in yourself that you can do this. And I know you can, because if I can do this, I know you can too. Well, I think that is about it for all of my Christmas projects this year. I still have a lot of ideas for Christmas, but we'll just have to save those for next year. And if you've enjoyed this video, I would be so thrilled if you would click that subscribe button. And if you click the bell notification, you can get an alert so you'll know every time I have a new video. I have so many ideas to share with you for the upcoming year. But for right now, I just want to tell you thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a very joyous and magical Christmas and take a little bit of time to really enjoy yourself this holiday season and share a little of that joy with someone in your life. So until next time, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll see you in the next video.